It's that time of year again where we have the opportunity to get our hands dirty and play in the dirt and enjoy all that nature has to give us. And over the next few weeks, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for all of us to be able to participate in some of the different things that are going on, like Gardening Day, Earth Day, Arbor Day, and coinciding that with our activities for Fruit of the Spirit and as we're preparing ourselves for the Holy Spirit to come in this journey. And so I wanted to do some activity or suggest an activity that would be a fun activity to do with your family, particularly for little ones in your family that might be able to not necessarily be able to get into the dirt as well in gardening per se, but be able to still have something that they can enjoy. So these to this week are going to be mini Fruit of the Spirit gardens. And I gave you a materials list, and I'm going to go over some of them. Told you like a tray. These I found at Home Depot. You can have the plastic, you can have the clay, and I am going to go with this one today, the brown one, the little plastic brown one. It's a little bit bigger than the others, and I'm hoping that it'll be enough for me to be able to participate with this one. I want you to also collect whatever you want to do with your garden with your family. So if you have a real green thumb, you may want to do herbs. You may want to do, I have picked out some succulents. You may want to do cactus. You may want to do something completely not with greenery that's alive. You might want to choose something that is necessarily artificial, that you can change around and change colors and go with different seasons. The size of this also allows you to be able to put it inside or outside, so you have the ability to see it all the time and set it up so that you can participate in it, or set it outside into your garden, that garden's out there, and have its own separate little space for this. I want you to also either collect them or in your nature walks and your adventures and foraging, or you can buy them. In an interest to try to save some money, I bought like a bag of these beach stones, but you can buy them at the craft store as well if you want to just get a collection of different stones. And these are what we're going to paint to add to your mini gardens. So whatever you want to be able to do with your garden, if you want to plant live plants, if you want to do other things, you have the ability to do any of that, as well as then paint your stones to put into your garden. This is going to be the bulk of what we're going to do. And we're going to have, you've seen some of those kindness gardens. Take one or give one and take what you need. And I'm going to kind of morph off of that by doing a Fruit of the Spirit garden. So that when we paint these, we're going to paint and put the words on there that represent all of the different fruits of the Spirit, as well as the gifts of the Spirit, so that you can put them in your garden, think about them, ponder, meditate. If you need something that day, you can have that with you as a prayer stone. And you can give it to somebody you think might need it, and then vice versa. It could be a whole thing that you can do with your family. So I just wanted to make sure that I told you that there's different ways to get these. Of course, you can just collect them on your walks, or whatever you collect on your walks, but the stones are the easiest way to paint. Have some craft brushes, some paint markers, some acrylic paints for those, and then of course just being able to get some soil for the ones that are actually live soils, and making sure that since it's a small little garden, you're going to want to make sure it's well hydrated and has ability to drain very well. So some pea gravel as well can be very useful, or you could go ahead and do like sand or different things that you would prefer for your garden, how it looks, the colors, that type of thing. So we're going to get started first with the planting and then with the painting. Okay, so what I did is I got my area set up. I got my tray with a layer of pea gravel for drainage, and then I'm going to add my soil. And you want to pick the soil for whatever you're choosing. So I'm going to go with the ones that are supposed to be good for succulents. Also more drainage and that type of thing, so that you can make sure they're getting the proper nutrients. I also got, apparently this is really well received, a succulent plant food. So hopefully that'll go well with my little mini garden. And some of the fun things that you can do with gardens in general, if your kids are older, of course, planting a whole new garden, doing the whole ability for them to really get their hands dirty with you, as well as planting food that you can have then on your plate at dinner time, salads, and you can really start to really appreciate, you know, all that goes into what you're eating, and appreciate the earth and what it can provide for us, and being able to spend time with nature is a very healthy type thing for us to do as a people, but it also is a very healthy thing to do as far as being able to listen for our higher power, spend time in meditation, and spend time in just contemplating and thinking about and listening for direction in our lives and peace that we want to have, particularly as we're thinking about in this journey to the Holy Spirit. All of these fruits of the Spirit activities are designed to be able to kind of take a time out and be able to allow the Holy Spirit to work in you and through you, and allow the Holy Spirit to be able to come in so you can hear what the messages are, what may be for you a path, or maybe something you need to work on, or something you need to share with others. And so that is part of what these activities are designed to do together as a family, and just to have some fun with it as well, but to spend time away from the everyday technology and that type of thing, to allow yourself to be able to get your hands dirty and really get yourself in the middle of nature. So now I've got my little base of soil, and it's time for me to start putting some plants in. Again, it's whatever you want to do. So if you prefer plants that are are artificial, that's perfectly fine, and you can use just the soil or rocks or whatever you want to do for that as well. You want to make sure that I'm going to break mine up a little bit so that I can spread it around so it has a different locations. So I'm opening it up so I can try to find different spots. I'm going to get them all ready so I can play with where I want to have it. I think I'm going to have spaces so that not only to create an area of interest, but I kind of want to create sort of like a little zen space, and then that the way the middle can be kind of circular with my rocks. And so I think I'm going to do something along those lines and play with that idea. So I'm going to kind of start just to place them a little bit. Nothing set in stone. You can decide how you want to do yours. There are different frames of thought when it comes to gardening in general, and specifically like container gardening. Is there are paths for you to be able to set up visually beautiful arrangement, and those can be different ways of doing it, and some of them really require like height and different levels, so that you can always have your eye looking through and seeing and enjoying the entire arrangement. So that allows you to kind of think about what that might look like for you. So you do that for yourself as well. So you can decide how you would like to have it be seen. But it does help to have different sizes, different heights, different widths, so it keeps the interest of the eye. It's a natural thing for us to do as humans, to kind of look for that. And again, I am just placing some to kind of get some ideas where I might like it and if it works for me. And I can just always change my mind and move it around later. So this was kind of nice about this particular being this kind of low depth planter. Now you can use a different planter. If you have a planter in mind that you'd like to do this in, and it's definitely outside or it's very large and in detail, you can most certainly do whatever you prefer for your mini garden. You can make a whole recycle your like a sandbox that you're no longer using, and use that as your mini garden that you can leave outside and continue to grow and add to. There's a variety of different things that can be done that allows you to enjoy the process. So just remember that your creativity is the limit. There's nothing else that can stop you from being able to enjoy that except for yourself. So I am just setting some aside. I'm going to start to see how I might want to place my rocks now. See if I like what I'm doing here. I might go over here this way. Kind of create a little area of interest on this side. And oh, sometimes with succulents, when you lose a little leaf, you can still get them to grow on the side if you're able to put a little rooting and then sometimes cinnamon, and that allows you to them to maybe set and grow as well, even if some of them get cut off. It's a way to kind of populate them. All right, so I'm going to try some rocks. Just setting up some rocks in general. These aren't necessarily the ones that I'm going to paint all over, but it can be. It could give me some areas to work on. And I think I'm going to start kind of setting up my area that I'd like to try to do kind of a circular pattern, kind of a little bit of a meditative path that I can play with a little bit here. And now that I kind of have something I'm liking so far, I'm going to start to plant the rest of my little succulents around, kind of see what they look like. I have one more succulent that I'm planning to use. I just didn't bring it out yet because of space. I wanted to get the rocks set first. And now I'm just seeing what I can do. So here we have a nice variety of different succulents and a nice variety of rocks. So now I'm getting that little path that I'm looking for. And you can continue your path all the way through this little garden and allow it to be part of the whole piece. So you can have it continue to circle through all the way through your garden in a little circular motion. And then as you add more of the stone that you're going to paint, then you can see how that then can help. You can even add, like, each stone could be a member of the family. You can have different things that can just keep everybody interested in what you're doing and checking in on your garden and enjoying that process as it grows, as well as you add pieces. You could add pieces from your nature walks. You can add collections of things that you find that are just fun and interesting. You can recycle things that you find along the way as well. There's a whole bunch of things that can be done to really foster that excitement within your garden and keep it fresh and keep it interesting, and maybe add a new plant or trade out some other ones or add more rocks and take them as you need them. So here's the last little succulent that I'm going to try to include in this. This one's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to try to break it down a little bit into some pieces. That's always the fun part, the dirty part, getting the hands dirty. That's fun. And then you can really create like some levels of height and depth and interest within your garden. You can almost make it look like a little bonsai and create the stones around that as well. And just enjoy that process as you're creating your garden. Now, the other parts that you can do that can also add to your spiral or to your pattern that you're doing is you can then add pea gravel back into the top and add it kind of as a path, or sand, or whatever you feel like is going to be part of your process. So I'm going to try that for here because I think that would be an interesting way, but also a way to kind of offer a little bit of contrast within the path. So I'm just going to grab a couple little cups here, and I'm just going to go back over my path with the pea gravel to kind of offer that, the way it's spiraling through. again, kind of a meditative process, a little bit of a maze, something to kind of think about as you're looking at your garden and spending time in it and around it, and contemplating nature and all the beauty that's in our everyday lives. Parts of being able to meditate and think and pray as through just appreciating the beauty that we have all around us and taking care of it. Being stewards of that is part of what we're also thinking about when we are, being responsible for the world around us, and gardening and the nature is part of that process. So again, this is kind of just a path that anyone, whatever you feel like doing, but you can certainly just have fun with whatever comes to mind or whatever you feel like doing. You can make yours, again, completely different. You can have it more straight and geometrical. You can have yours be more with different kinds of stone and rock. You can add little figures to your garden, whatever comes to mind that you feel is something that's calling you for your family, and make it just a fun thing for you guys to do together. And then it's something that the kids can pay attention to and enjoy, and just really allow them to just begin, for the younger ones, to begin the process of understanding what the nature and appreciating it, and that we're responsible for leaving it better than when we took it or started it. But then how we can then go from there with what we can do within our own families, and maybe even start a new tradition, something different. Maybe make these for gifts for the neighbors, or at school, or something along those lines that can allow you to really see how this might flourish into something bigger. All right, so that's just an initial path that I created with a little bit of the succulents that I purchased and got today at the store, and had a lot of fun doing that. And again, you can do whatever colors or paths that you want to do. But now, after you've decided how you want to plant this and put this together, and you have plenty of drainage and use of what you want, now it's time to have fun with the painting of the fruit of the spirit stones that you have ready for you. So we're going to get started on that next. Alright, so we're back. I went ahead and painted up at least 12 different colors on my stones, and they all represent a different fruit of the spirit. Depending on your faith and your history, there may be different numbers. It could be anywhere from 7 to 12. They all mean basically the same thing, but they may be in more detail depending on where you practice. So wanted to make sure we're inclusive, so I just did different colors for those. Now, what we can do after they've been painted and then placed into your garden is then we can set up a little sign that will say, take one, give one, take what you need, or anything along those lines, very similar to a kindness garden, but that they represent the fruits of the Spirit. You can even include in there the gifts of the Spirit, like wisdom and those types of things. So you can write with a paint marker or a Sharpie, and you can just write directly onto your painted rocks. You can paint on your rocks anything you like. You can make them into an animal, a bug, like ladybugs, or different kinds of things. You can have each one of your family members decorate their own rock to represent themselves, and maybe do a little self-portrait on the rock with their hair and glasses, or whatever they feel is their fancy. But the idea is that this is going to be your little mini fruit of the spirit garden, and that as you continue to grow, you can add or take, you can put it inside your house and have that be something that you can talk about and ponder on and think. And let's say that day is going to be difficult and you really need some self-control so you don't say something you're not supposed to, or maybe you need a little bit more patience, or you would like to have some peace, and maybe you want to focus on that, and you can bring it with you as a worry stone type of thing, where you can pray on it and keep it as a mindful practice. And as you collect things, you can continue to add things to your mini garden and tend to it as you like, adjust it with different colors. What's also really neat is that I've seen now they have glow-in-the-dark paints, and they have glow-in-the-dark rocks that you can get, so you can even make yours a little bit more spice in it as well. You can do pours on it and have marbleized things, just like you did with your eggs, and you can decorate them any way you like. And then you can put words on them. You can have what it represents to you, like what does joy mean, or using joy, or smile, or give thanks, or whatever is the one that makes most sense to you and your family. And really make this a real fun activity for you to enjoy and to pass on. Again, this can be either indoors or outdoors, and it's just more a matter of you being able to have something special to share, your own little garden for your families as you can continue on this journey to the Holy Spirit. We really appreciate you joining us and participating in these activities. We'd like to get your feedback on what is working and what you'd like to see more of. And I will include a little flyer that will include like the sign that you can put in here as well for your take what you need, that give one type of thing. So look for that as well. And just thank you very much for participating, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you.